It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We are getting ready for another hour of cruise control, and we've got a lot to get to, including the Grand Cherokee being revealed. Les, that's a big reveal. We're excited to talk about that. Of course, it's going to have the 4xe plug-in hybrid drivetrain, which is exciting. And I got to drive this vehicle. This is the $215,000 Maybach, which was quite amazing. You get the luxury seats in the back that recline.
So knowing you in the upper middle class, you use that to go to Home Depot?
Yeah, I loaded some wood on the roof.
Yeah, good.
By the way, this had a two-tone paint job on the outside. That two-tone paint job sets you back $14,500.
Well, of course.
So we'll talk about that. And I also drove some other vehicles, a little more affordable. The new Nissan Frontier. That was a lot of fun. And then you drove this vehicle, the Black Label Lincoln Nautilus, on a long trip. You're going to have an at the wheel, right?
I do. 1,236 miles.
Wow. I think that was enough time to review it. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you, you really get to know a car over a distance.
Yeah, I bet you do. So
yeah,
that is all coming up on Cruise Control when me, Fred Staub, and this guy, Les Jackson.
Yes, indeedy. And, of course, we're packed with more industry stories than we can possibly get to this morning, but we'll try.
We will try, and you're along for the ride with us. So stay tuned. Cruise Control is coming up.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. Your ride is about to begin. Whoops, it actually has begun already. Well, welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine where we take you on a ride around the automotive industry. We is me, Fred Staub, and none other than Les Jackson, who has just put a press car to the ultimate test. We'll tell you.
That is right. Oh. America's highways, and many of them.
Yeah, well, we'll tell you about that when we get started on the show, but we're going to start with news from Jeep, and Jeep has put together an incredible Grand Cherokee. We're going to check that out. And Les, they have the new 4xe drivetrain, which is hybrid drivetrain, plug-in hybrid. We'll tell you all about it, won't we?
That's very, very cool. And Genesis has a clean sweep of the safety ratings. And they also show off their all-electric GV60, which is, as you know, Genesis, it's good.
Yeah, that's right. We will check that out. And strange times, Chevy dealers are buying back used bolts. Of course, there's a big recall on that electric vehicle with battery problems. Yep. But dealers are buying them back for more than the sticker prices. We'll tell you why. And Ford is paying customers to get all-wheel drive Maverick pickups. They're upgrading them. Why are they doing that, Les Jackson? They're just nice?
Well, I think it's probably because economically it makes more sense to just make one particular platform.
All right.
But we'll talk about it. And how soon, Mr. Fred, will electric vehicles go mainstream? We have the results of a new poll. Some people might be surprised. Maybe not.
I would say today at 2:37.
No, I have to do my hair then.
Okay. Plus, I drove some of the most expensive cars around. We'll tell you about this one that I had a chance to drive, the $215,000 Maybach. Nice little vehicle to run around the neighborhood in, Les.
Nice little ride.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. And you have something to talk about, don't you?
I do. I have a long-range review of the all-new Lincoln Nautilus Black Label Edition.
Uh-huh.
And I think you'll find it very interesting.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we will have all that and more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control, the on-air automotive magazine. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. So we will be right back. We're just getting started. Plenty to go. Reviews, automotive news, and more. Stay tuned to Cruise Control. Mm-hmm.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Les. He's Fred. And we just got introduced to the new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And hey, it's electrified.
Yeah, electrified. It is the new 4xe drivetrain, plug-in hybrid. At least some of the models are, including even the Trailhawk. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the, it's the 5th generation, by the way, of the Grand Cherokee. And, of course, you know, they had the Grand Cherokee L, which was the lengthened version of this. That came out first. And now this week, the 5th generation of the Grand Cherokee was revealed, including the 4xe, the first electrified version, and the Trailhawk. So there's a lot to talk about here. A lot of luxury, a lot of safety. It has maintained its size because the size of the Grand Cherokee is kind of unique. It's a little bit smaller than certain crossovers. Or this is a true SUV, I should say, actually, because it's very capable. But it does and is available with the 3 different 4x4 systems, QuadraTrack 1, QuadraTrack 2, and Quadra Drive 2, and has the QuadraLift air suspension with electronic semi-active damping, which is really handy when you're off-road, isn't it?
Yeah, and very smooth riding.
Yeah, very smooth riding. And then they have a sway bar disconnect, which allows you to get greater action and articulation over rocks and rough terrain. They have, as I mentioned, the Trailhawk, and then the Trailhawk 4xe. The 4xe is a very capable version of the Trailhawk, but it is also electrified, which is great. And they still have the availability of the 5.7-liter engine in different models if you want it. That gives you a class-leading towing capability of 7,200 pounds. Of course, on the inside, they've updated it with Uconnect 5, which is new technology, including a 10.1-inch display. It's 5 times faster with its operating speed than previous generation infotainment systems, previous Uconnects. And like many vehicles, it can now get over-the-air updates. So you could be off on the Rubicon Trail, and it will give you a new update, Les Jackson. How's that?
Or you could be rolling down the off the road on Pikes Peak, spinning around, falling 1,000 feet, but it'll be updated by the time it hits the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. You might not be updated, but the Jeep will. I mean, this is great technology, though. I just love this.
Yeah, as you can see, it's got the 2-tone roof color with the chrome around it. I like that. I think that is a great industry trend. We're seeing return to 2-tone paint, and it's certainly something that I think is a good thing to revive. We're seeing it a lot. I just drove the Pathfinder, and I had something similar to that. And I think we're going to see more and more of this. Now, I actually had a chance to drive the 4xe Wrangler, and I was very impressed with it. It is a plug-in hybrid. You get, in the case of the Wrangler, you get 20 miles of range, all electric, which you can do a lot with, actually.
You can, yeah. I mean, on everyday just errands, you shouldn't even have to start the engine.
Yeah. And it also, now that same drivetrain will be available in the Grand Cherokee, the 5th generation Grand Cherokee. So that's going to be exciting. I think it's great also for the for the off-roading folks. Imagine just going into electric mode when you're off-road on the trail. I think that would be really good. Now, in the case of the Grand Cherokee, they're talking about a 25-mile all-electric range with a total range of more than 440 miles. I still think plug-in hybrids are one of the best deals right now if you want to go electrified. And now it has that capability and can go off-road too. So there you have it, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Pretty good entry into the SUV field. Wouldn't you say, Les?
Definitely. Very, very long-standing brand. Grand Cherokee's been around since 1992. I remember testing one back then.
All right. Well, we'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is none other than Les Jackson. We're taking you on a ride around the automotive industry, letting you know what's coming up, the new technology, the new safety, the new models. Of course, the industry is struggling. GM announced, I think, something like sales were down 32 point something percent. They just can't get the chips. Les, you and I have been talking about a lot of these vehicles, and we realized that a lot of them never came out that we talked about, said would be coming out. They just haven't come out. They haven't been able to build them.
No.
And
this is a crisis.
It is a crisis. I think, as we always say, some of this stuff will be studied in business schools. But of Quite simply, you can't depend on someone else to make important components for you. A lot of the manufacturers are going through third parties to get these chips, and the problem is the third parties can't make it happen. I think you're going to see probably, not unlike what they did with transmissions and things like that, manufacturers coming together, chipping in to buy or build plants. But we're going to tell you a little bit later on about some manufacturers just stripping out safety systems and things like that just to get vehicles out the door because they just don't have the chips to do it. And it is really, really, really hitting hard. This week I was over at the IMPA Test Day, and we were talking about that. And it is hard to get vehicles. It's hard to sell vehicles. Dealers have nothing on their lots. You said that last week.
I passed several dealers in upstate New York on our trip, and the lots were empty. Oh, and the Mannheim auction lot. You're familiar with that?
Sure.
Along Route 81 in Pennsylvania. Passed it twice, up on the way up and on the way back, and that lot is what, maybe 60, 70 acres?
Yeah.
Maybe 200 vehicles on it.
Wow. Normally that would be packed. It'd be
packed, yeah.
Like a half mile of cars. But they're just not there. They're just not there. And we'll tell you about what some dealers are doing to get cars to sell. But first, let's talk a little bit about Genesis. Genesis always does very well when it comes to ratings, and now they've done very well when it comes to safety. They earned the top Safety Pick Plus designations for their complete lineup. Every Genesis gets a top safety award. It was announced this week, and this week the new 2022 Genesis G70, they call it a sports sedan, but there's also a CUV or SUV version of it. Both of them have been designated as the top Safety Pick Plus for 2021. That means the full Genesis lineup gets the top Safety Pick Plus. And I think that's something they'll crow about.
Well, it is. You would expect nothing less from Genesis.
No, I agree.
They sort of adopted the Louis B. Mayer philosophy from the film studios of the 30s, and his orders were always do it right, do it big, give it class.
Yeah, they do that. And I had a chance to see their new GV70 this week, and it's quite a nice vehicle. Great size, really a cool design. A lot of us were pontificating whether or not we like the wheel design, but that's neither here nor there.
I'll withhold judgment on the wheels.
Okay. But big news for them. I'm sure we're going to hear more about it. We're also going to hear about something that they released this week, and that is their first full electric vehicle, the GV60, which is an all-electric crossover, V being their designation for crossover. They call it an athletic coupe. You know what? I'm not buying, if it's got four doors, it's not a coupe. I know they're trying to say, if it's a four-door vehicle with a kind of a fastback in now they call that a coupe. I just don't get that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy it. No sale.
I have to agree with you. We grew up with a coupe. Was a coupe. Two doors, sleek roof line.
Uh-huh.
That's a coupe.
Yeah. This is a four-door crossover, which is nothing wrong with that.
Could we call it a foop?
That sounds like something you don't want to call it. But they had a digital online world premiere, the GV60, and it is their first dedicated EV model. And it features a lot of technology. Of course, it does look familiar in many ways. The styling, the slatted lights that they have front and back, and some of the other cues, you definitely know it is a Genesis vehicle. And they've got a lot of technology in here. And one of the things they call on the inside is a crystal sphere. They're all the horn cover, the door handles, the side mirror controllers are decorated with circular embellishments. It will have a total of 11 colors, some interesting names like Hanayuma Mint and Atacama Copper Matte. That sounds pretty, a matte paint job in copper.
Pretty exotic names. Black, Uyuni White.
Yep. Obsidian Black.
Matterhorn White. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. It will be equipped with some innovative technologies, including Face Connect, where your vehicle will recognize your face, much like your smartphone does. Vehicles are becoming smartphones, basically. It will have fingerprint authentication system, over-the-air updates for software. No surprise there. Just about everyone is getting that. Digital key 2 to enable drivers to interact with their vehicle. And it will feature near-infrared camera. This is what's going to make the facial recognition work, so it will recognize your face. Interesting stuff that all of the features in the vehicle can be adjusted and memorized for the driver. It recognizes your face. It will set up the head-up display, the driver's seat, the steering wheel, the side mirrors, infotainment settings, and more will be customized automatically as soon as it sees your face. This is the GV60, the first electric vehicle, fully electric vehicle from Genesis.
That's actually, I think it's rather attractive overall.
Yeah. Now, each model will get a 77.4 kilowatt per hour battery. Its standard rear drive range. Now, we have the Korean numbers. I need Les Jackson, the computer, to convert this. 451 kilometers per charge.
Okay. That's just a shade over 300 miles.
Okay, so that's not bad at all. And then there's an all-wheel drive version as well. And then there's a performance version, which will have a output of 320 kilowatts of power with a maximum torque of 605 Newton meters and a driving range of 368 kilometers per charge. And then there's going to have a boost mode button on the steering wheel that activates additional performance for 10 seconds, which enables the vehicle to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is what, 62?
62.
In just 4 seconds. Pretty impressive. Impressive stuff from the folks at Genesis, and it will probably get a Safety Pick Plus safety rating. Why break up a good thing?
That's right. We're pretty assured of that.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to tell you a little bit about some strange times, what's going on with the Chevy Bolt and the Ford Maverick. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Les and Fred here. We are shifting gears a little bit. Well, not really, because we're talking about electrics.
Yeah.
Over at Chevy, of course, we talked last week about the big recall for the Bolt. 147,000 bolts have to come back to replace the whole battery pack, which is not a trivial thing.
No, that was what LG Chem made those, I think, and
so this will be expensive.
They all had a couple of problems too, which some have caught fire. So if you have a Bolt, heed the warnings.
That's right. They're telling you park it outside.
Yeah, and they're even telling you if you're in a parking garage to park it on a roof parking space so you don't set other cars on fire. So
yeah.
It's sad. You and I have talked about this because it's a good vehicle. It's a great way to get into an electric vehicle. 250-mile range. It's a spunky little car to drive. It's fun. But they're going to recall basically all of them. But here is just another weird thing about buying cars right now due to the chip shortage. Dealers are buying back Chevy Bolts with the full understanding that the battery pack will have to be replaced. Chevy's going to pay for that, but they're buying them back for more money than the customers paid for them. So if you bought one from a dealer, you might get a call and say, hey, remember that Bolt I sold you? Yeah. Well, it's got to be recalled, right? Yeah, I know that. And well, guess what? I'll buy it back for more than you paid for. What will people do? They probably sell it, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but you remember,
now you have to buy something.
You have to have something to replace it. So,
right.
If you have another car, sure.
Right. But why are they doing this? By the way, there have been 12 fires and 3 injuries on these things. Basically, why they're doing it is they won't lose any money on it, the dealers. Mannheim Auctions, as you were just talking about, predicts that the Bolt will lose no more than $100 of its value over the next 12 months. That's pretty good. That's nothing. That's nothing. And Chevy's going to replace the battery pack. So basically, these dealers are saying, I can make money with these cars. Mm-hmm. We'll repair them. We'll get the parts for free. We'll repair them as long as they can get somebody to be employed as a technician to put the battery in. And then we will sell this thing probably for higher than sticker price. Now imagine that. With
a brand new warranty.
With a brand new warranty, brand new battery pack. Imagine that. Has that ever happened before? This type of scenario where a car that is got a major recall and needs major work. I don't know how the battery pack comes out, but let's just say it's more than 4 bolts, isn't it? To take it out.
Well, the battery pack's got to cost $3,000
at least, maybe more. Maybe more. I think if you want to rebattery a Prius, it costs that much, and those, Yeah,
they can get expensive.
So, but GM's paying for that part, and the labor to put it in. But still, they think they're going to sell these things for more than people bought them for. It's crazy. It's crazy time, isn't it? Crazy time at the auto dealership.
It is crazy time. The only time I've ever seen that happen before, it wasn't a recall, is things like the Ford GT, where people would buy these and then sell them a year later for $50,000 more.
Right. Right.
But that's a niche vehicle.
Right. This is, as I said
again, just a car.
A great commuter car, a great vehicle to have, with decent range, 250 miles, dip your toe into the EV world. I think it's a great vehicle. I was sad when it was affected by this through no fault of General Motors. They bought these batteries from a supplier, and it's a big supplier. It's not like it's Midnight Auto Supply batteries. And they got messed around by them, basically. They're bad manufacturing. And certainly it's concerning a lot of people about electric cars in general because, even with gas cars, they very rarely catch fire in your garage, don't they?
Very rarely.
Yeah. So, but anyway, this is what dealers are doing. If you have a Bolt that you bought recently, you may be getting a call from your dealer to let's make a deal. But as Les said, it's like anything. Like, wow, I'm going to sell my house because prices are up. Well, you got to have somewhere to live, so you're going to have to buy something else.
I get about one call a week to sell my house.
Yes. I heard you wanted to sell your house. That's why I get those texts. It's like, no, I didn't say that. So, well, here's another interesting situation that is very unique, and I don't think I've ever heard of this before, but Ford is paying some people that have ordered Mavericks $2,220 to upgrade to all-wheel drive. This is an interesting one. Now, you could order the 4,000-pound tow package on the Maverick with just front-wheel drive. And many people did that. And this information comes to us from the Maverick Truck Club forum, which as soon as there's a new vehicle, somebody starts a forum. Well, the vehicle was available, the Maverick, which of course is the small pickup that brought back the Maverick name, was available with the 4,000-pound tow package in front-wheel drive. And some people ordered it. But engineers determined that that's not going to work that well without all-wheel drive. So the folks that have ordered Mavericks, they haven't gotten them yet, that have ordered Mavericks with the tow package with front-wheel drive are automatically upgraded, no extra cost, to all-wheel drive. And they're no longer making the 4,000-pound tow-rated Maverick available with just front-wheel drive. It's only going to have all-wheel drive. But if you ordered it, they're going to cover the cost, that $2,200, to upgrade you. Pretty cool, don't you think?
Well, and it's a classy thing to do on Ford's part.
Yep.
Hey, you're going to be getting a much more capable all-wheel drive Maverick
for the same
no extra
price.
Charge to you.
I would feel like I would be happy about that, wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you be? It's, hey, this is great. I kind of wanted that in the first place.
And engineers, it's good to have engineers. They're like, you know what? I think you should have all-wheel drive, and that's it. So,
yeah.
Cool stuff. Different times, though. Hey, let's talk about, we got so much to get to. Let me tell you about some of the vehicles I drove. We had the IMPA test days, or test day. It was kind of a rainy day, but got to see a lot of our colleagues in the automotive world. And I got to drive this car. This is the Maybach. And what a beautiful machine. This is $215,000 of car.
Well, you deserve it.
Well, thank you, Les. I bought two. That two-tone paint job set you back an extra $14,500.
Could buy a used car for that.
You used to be able to, at least.
Yeah, you can't anymore.
This interior was amazing. You look at the trim on this vehicle. It's futuristic, complete glass cockpit, the beautiful Maybach logo. It has a bi-turbo 4-liter V8 in it, by the way. The rear seats completely recline. It's like being on a first-class seat in an airplane. Tablets to control everything, televisions to watch. You, of course, get champagne flutes and a refrigerator for the rear seat passengers. The wheels, you say you didn't like the wheels. They look sort of like the Halibran wheels on hot rods, I thought. But if you don't like those, you can get others, Les, just so you're not disappointed. This is the S-Class, but it is a tarted-up S-Class with a lot of features. You can get an S-Class. I priced it last night. What's the difference between the S-Class and the S-Class Maybach? You can get a fully loaded S-Class with virtually everything for under $150,000. For this, we're talking $215,000. But it was a really cool vehicle, I have to say. I enjoyed driving it, and I would have loved to take that on a long-range trip. By the way, you're going to have a review coming up on it. But I also want to tell you about some of the other vehicles I had to drive, and Les is going to get to that at the wheel review of the Lincoln Nautilus. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. A lot coming up. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. You can link over to all our social media platforms, our YouTube page, and more. cruisecontrolradio.com. I'm Fred Staub. He's Les Jackson. We will be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Hey, Les, why don't you take it? Because you have an at-the-wheel review, don't you, of an incredible...
That's exactly right. It's not often. This is the new Lincoln Nautilus Black Label edition. Now, it's not often we get to take vehicles for extended range driving. In this case, 1,236 miles.
That's extended. I would say,
and
that's
it's important to do that. Of course, we normally drive these for for a week, and typically 200-300 miles, and you get to know it quite well. But there's something about a long trip that really shows what a vehicle is worth. And I'll tell you right up front, this is a $72,000 Lincoln.
Okay.
And for those of you who can afford it, you really need to check one of these out. It's worth your time, because I found, and my wife found, our passengers when we were in upstate New York found, once you're in it and enjoying it, you really start to love this thing.
Okay.
And it's not any one thing, it's everything. But what are those things? First of all, it's powered by a 2.7 liter V6 twin turbo.
Okay.
335 horsepower.
That's a good number.
Not the greatest mileage in the world. 19 city, 25 highway. We averaged 22.6 for the whole trip.
Okay.
No effort was made on my part to drive slowly.
I find that pretty funny. That's good.
Well, obviously we could have gotten better mileage. Let me just put it that way.
Okay.
Beautiful, bluish. What is the name? It's called Flight Blue.
Flight Blue. Bluish,
grayish, almost greenish. Very pretty finish. Inside, Venetian leather in alpine white.
Wow.
So I had to be really careful not to get it dirty. Beautiful interior. And let's start with the comfort. The front seats, both are power. Both are 22 adjustments on the front seats, or each has 22 adjustments.
Can you detail each adjustment for me, Les?
Well, I would like to, but we don't have that amount of time. But you can adjust the bolster, the shape, obviously heated, air conditioned, massage.
Now, seats are a big thing for you.
Well, it's a big thing, especially for a trip, because you want to get yourself really comfortable, but not at the same time falling asleep.
Right.
Which you could almost do in the Nautilus, because it has Copilot Plus. Now, this is a level 3 autonomy, which means it's not hands-off, nor should it be.
Right.
However, of the 459 miles each way, mostly interstate, it basically drove itself about 420 of those miles.
Wow.
That's with the intelligent cruise control on, with the steering assist on. You always have to keep your hands on the wheel.
The steering assist is great. You know when it's great? Especially on a rainy night where you can't see the lines.
And yes, and we had that condition while we were driving various roads. So now what does that do for you? Well, it doesn't put you to sleep, but what it allows you to do is relax. You're not pushing on a gas pedal. You're not constantly exerting 1 or 2 pounds of muscular effort on the wheel.
Okay.
You just sit back and pay attention. It's really, really nice. Obviously, it has self-braking, pedestrian detection, 360-degree camera for backup, automatic braking backing up, which is lucky because
It's
I
a big
almost ran
vehicle.
over our luggage.
That's how you get new luggage.
Well, see, that was my plan. Anyway, instrumentation. I'll go to the Ford Sync in a moment, but obviously the screen in the center of the dash is about a little over a foot wide, a little over 6.5, 7 inches tall. But what's nice about it is the top of it doesn't exceed the level of the dash.
Okay.
Of the top of the dash. So you don't feel like there's this screen sticking up in your face.
Yeah, like a lot of screens, they
So
are
many,
proud,
so many.
very proud of. I want to ask about the gear selection. It has the push-button gear selection, doesn't it?
It has the push-button array underneath the center of the dash, much like other Lincoln models, where you have the start and park, and it's just a little row of level switches, very well lit, so you know what it is, and it's certainly it's intuitive. Once you find it, if you don't know it's there, you have to look for it because there's no gear shift or anything.
Right.
Now, the sync system is Sync 2, and there's so much you can do with that other than just pairing your phone and all your apps. There's just it's impossible to describe it. There are videos out there that show all of the tricks you can use with it. It's really nicely done.
Yeah.
We were pretty critical of the original sync system, but they've worked out the bugs.
Oh yeah, they certainly have. I mean, the original sync system would crash. You don't have that anymore.
That's right. Now this particular vehicle is all-wheel drive. So suspension, when it hits really, really rough roads, it doesn't shake inside, but you can feel kind of a harshness hitting the bumps. Inside, on the road, except for terrible road conditions, I measured the noise level at 69 decibels.
Wow, quiet.
Which
comfort.
is about that's about the level we're talking. Right
yeah,
now.
they are quiet vehicles, Lincolns.
And that's really important on a trip.
Yeah, you get fatigued with noise.
Yeah, noise is very fatiguing. It's lovely just to not notice what's going on outside.
Yeah.
And the other thing, using the co-pilot, is we got stuck in several road construction things. One of them was terribly slow, where we actually crept at a walking pace for over 40 minutes.
Oh, my.
And I had it set on cruise control, and it would just simply creep. And when it would go to a full stop, it would light up and say, if you want to start again, you have to push resume. So it was an extra safety feature. But what was really nice was not having to sit there and constantly push your foot down a little bit and hold the wheel and keep it in the lane. It would just do the creeping for you.
That's cool.
Cut down on frustration tremendously.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And as I say, comfortable. Everybody loved riding in this thing. And that's why I say, even though it's expensive and most of us can't afford that, if you can, you just got to check one out. It is a marvelous piece of engineering and luxury.
All right. Well, Les, we appreciate that at the wheel. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. We'll see you down the road.
Bye.